at NEHAWU, and NEHAWU is saying that they're not happy with government's vaccine rollout plan. They just believe it lacks detail. Good morning, welcome to the program, and talk to us about why NEHAWU is unhappy with the vaccine rollout plan.
Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners at home, and thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, we believe that the plan that was unveiled by the minister on Sunday is very vague, it's very scant on details, and moreover, it is very ambiguous when it comes to timeline, especially on the delivery dates. So we believe that the department could have been more transparent, could have given more details, especially on the logistical arrangements. What is it that they're going to do with the geographical spread? How are they going to locate the essential groups or the groups that have to go into the first vaccination, meaning the first phase? What is it that they're going to do in relation to training the people who will be doing the vaccination? Because those people would require vaccination, but what would they do in relation of storing the vaccines and so forth, and the distribution plan? So all of those details were not there, and we believe that they're very important, and they should have formed a bone of the presentation by the minister. So we believe that they need to try harder once again to ensure that they give confidence to South Africans to say that they're on top of things, they're doing everything in their power to ensure that the vaccine arrives. Because I believe that we can't have any more delays, considering that the numbers of are rotating on a daily basis, and we really need the vaccine, especially for frontline workers who are at the center of fighting the virus. So the plan that was delivered by government really doesn't really speak to the specifics and doesn't really inspire confidence. But what it does is to create confusion, especially on the issue of the timelines, because the timelines keeps changing. Firstly, it was the first quarter, now it's the second quarter, now it might be February, but there are no tangible agreements and so forth. So we're not really happy with the plan.
Have you had response from government about your grievances around the vaccine rollout?
Well, the plan was unveiled on Sunday, and we're in the process of trying to have an audience with the minister to register our dissatisfaction with the plan that was unveiled, because we believe that as an important stakeholder, especially that represent frontline workers, we do have a role to play in ensuring that not only do we protect our members, but also protect society at large, because we see ourselves as community members first before we are workers. So it's important then to ensure that the community as well also is protected. So that's why then an engagement with the department would be very important, and it must happen as a matter of urgency, not only to discuss the issue of the vaccine, but also the government's plan in relation to the second wave. As we've seen the skyrocketing numbers in terms of infection rate and also the mortality rate. So we'll do our best to ensure that we not only submit a government, we can't be a stakeholder that is only preoccupied with complaining and pointing faults, but also offer assistance, because at the end, this is for the greater good. This is for all South Africans. So hopefully we'll be able to get an audience with the minister as a matter of urgency, so that we can iron out this issue, so that as a country we can have a fighting chance against the virus.
Absolutely. Do you not think perhaps money is the key factor here? Because government's been making noises about forming partnerships with a big business. So that might be an issue?
It's not necessarily an issue now. I think now is an issue of scarcity. I think all over the world there's scarcity of the vaccines, and those that are available, they either not have passed the necessary test, or those that are available are not suitable for South Africa, because they have to be stored in a certain cold degrees.
Yeah.
So it's an issue of trying to find suitable vaccines across the world. So I believe also the government has had a hand in that. In that, I think they started the negotiations very late. The minister claims that they started negotiations with vaccine manufacturers as early as September. And we believe that was very late. I mean, we saw what the first wave did to South Africa. And I think the negotiations should have started as far back as then to ensure that at least as early as late last year, we're able to vaccinate our healthcare workers and those with comorbidities and older people. So I believe that all is not lost. Government must then go out there, ensure that they put all the money that is necessary. They find a suitable vaccine that is tested, but also look into tying all other loose ends like the issue of training of the people who do the vaccination and so forth, and ensure that they do everything in their power to protect our people against this invisible enemy.
Okay, I also understand in breaking news that Pfizer and BioNTech jointly have offered the South African government the vaccines at a discounted price. But despite the offer at a discounted price, our government is not hasn't taken up the offer. Would you know why that is? I'm thinking once again it might be an issue around money.
It, from what I heard, of course, I can't really confirm the veracity of my information, but from what I heard, is that the Pfizer vaccine needs to be stored at negative 20 degrees, which is a capacity that you don't have in order to freeze it at that capacity. I don't think necessarily it's an issue of money, but it's an issue of storing, because they're different, these viruses. Others can be stored at -2, others at -20. So you need to be able to have the storage in order to store them, and they are cold and so that they're able to be used. So I think government, once again, in this instance, would have to come out and give information, because we think the issue of information sharing is very important to explain what happened with the Pfizer vaccine, but also give information, because I think there's a lot of misinformation or lack of information in relation to the issue of vaccine. Some people have been saying they will not get vaccinated because the vaccine gives you demons or it changes your DNA. Government has to ensure that it educates people. It tells them the pros and cons. It tells them what are the side effects. I mean, one of the stories was that if you take the vaccine, then you're going to grow mushrooms out of your ears. This is the information that people have to be taught.
Right.
So that, because there's a lot of fake news. So government has to be 2 steps ahead of educating our people, ensuring that they share information.
Khaya, let me ask you the final question. What do you make of the partnership with Discovery Health, the medical aid giant, and government? How do you see that playing out? Does that mean if Discovery and government forms a partnership, that the vaccine will be more readily available to the larger community, or is it going to be exclusive to medical aid members?
Look, we are skeptical. We are very apprehensive about the private partnership with private partnership, because as we've known, Discovery, in fact, specifically, has been on the forefront of criticizing the national health insurance, of ensuring that we build a healthcare system that treats people based on their illnesses and not on their ability to pay. So we believe that medical aid or medical private health providers, their only preoccupation is private maximization. They do things for the greater good. So we don't want a situation whereby they use this program to further ensure that they maximize their profits and their standing at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So government must, at all times, like we've said with the tender system, government must be able to build its own internal capacity to be able to do things instead of relying to the private sector. But the private sector is all about profits. So we hope that government then will have an oversight and will ensure that no corners are cut and that no one gets to accumulate dividends from this project.
Okay, there is a worldwide demand for vaccines, for the COVAX. that obviously indicates that we in South Africa might not be able to get our full quota once it has been ordered. NEHAWU and other unions, is there not a concern by you guys that people who can afford it will have ready access to the vaccines? And as usual, the poorest of the poor will be marginalized because they won't be able to afford the vaccine.
That's why we're saying that government must move its speed and ensure that it procures as much vaccine as possible, especially for the working class and the poor. Because if it does not, then medical aids, especially your discoveries, then will make the procurements, then they will vaccinate their own members, and then the working class then will be left to perish. So it's important to government then to ensure that it does things, especially for the working men or for those who have nothing, especially the elderly and those who are unemployed. So government must do right by our people and ensure that it protects them.
Right, that's where we leave it. And no doubt we will be in touch with you again sometime soon to get an update on these stories and much, much more. Thank you indeed for your time, and go well.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day.